we tend to disconnect from our bodies and we tend to spend a lot of time in our heads. I'm definitely like that. Always telling stories, thinking about the future, thinking about the past, thinking about whatever. And I disconnect from how I'm feeling. The people struggle to make eye contact and be really present and real with someone is because they're hiding some part of themselves. You know what I mean? Like it takes conscious effort for me to stare 1 foot away from you, look you in the eyes, and not allow you to see a part of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think you have to be really vulnerable to show a person every aspect of who you are when they're staring you right in the face. And I think I struggle with that. Like I try to hide, suppress certain parts of myself. Serious, but I think some people get high as shit on pleasing the people around them. And maybe it's their parents. You know, maybe it's just a kid. You know, you could see a kid growing up and their parents only love them if they get good grades. You know, so they go to school and they get good grades and they're a high achiever. They spend their entire life doing shit for other people. They don't even realize it. They're getting so high on the people who are looking up to them and praising them all the time. That's how they get stoned, you know?
Don't think, breathe. You took a little bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, it did.
Why?
I think, I just like when I remember I was like 11 or 12 and I was like at a pool at a birthday party and I was fat and people called me fat and they made fun of me for it. And I truly believe that had some sort of effect on me growing up, and it kept me from wanting to engage with younger kids around me, because like having experiences like that made me develop this part of me that tells me when I'm fixing to approach, say, people my age, that they're Dalton, they're going to make fun of you. They're going to remember how this happened when you were younger. It's this part of you that wants you to feel safe and feel loved because it felt so much pain.
Do you have in your head a mental image of who that one person is that you really want to find? Don't think, breathe. Could it be you?
Could it be me? I think specifically I think about younger, I mean, I'd say guys, but I relate more with guys, so I would say younger guys, but I would say like myself when I was like 15, 16. I would love for him to hear my insight, you know?
Yeah.
He could learn a lot from that. You know, younger people who are sort of lost and don't know who they are and don't know what to do with themselves or feel unhappy.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of David's Saturday Night Sit Back. If you're watching this on YouTube, you recognize this face. Or maybe they haven't because your hair's changed. But this is Dalton Daniel. He's back for episode 2. Dalton is a curious, kind, thoughtful, introspective mid-20s young man living here in Austin, Texas. He is also the host of the podcast Don't Think, Breathe, which recently did drop 2 episodes. So if you haven't listened to those yet, there's a solo episode, which I've said before are some of my favorite. And then he had a guest on for the other episode. Tonight, we're going to kick things off talking about a 90-minute breathwork class that we both just got back from. I've never done any form of breathwork before. For Dalton, this was his first time taking this course with this instructor, so it was a little bit different for him as well. And we're also going to talk about things such as a retreat that Dalton just went on, AI, identity, and updates since his last appearance on the show. Dalton, welcome to your second episode on DSNSP.
I'm happy to be here, man. This is fucking cool.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
In
I'm like
general?
super. Yeah, I am.
Okay,
Yeah. And
good.
I'm just excited to be here too. Like when you asked me to come on, I was like, oh.
Of course.
Like, yeah, this is so
You're my
cool,
buddy.
yeah.
You're my Theo Vaughn.
Oh, dude, that's
Meaning Theo's like, I think he's been on
That's a
Joe's
compliment.
shows like 8 times. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind if you came on 8 times. That'd be great.
I'm here, man. It's awesome.
Well, we're going to talk about breathwork and stuff, but before we do, let me just ask you this. We recorded in July, right?
I don't know, honestly.
It's been at least half a year. Any major changes in your life in that time?
Oh man.
Even if it's just something like a way that you've seen yourself grown.
Yeah.
Because when last summer, I know some things we talked about were getting comfortable approaching people to maybe not ask them on a date, but to like to hit on them. You were wanting to be more comfortable dancing in public. Let's do that. That's an easy one. Have you done any dancing in the last 7 months?
A little bit, not really. No, I haven't. I don't. To be honest, I don't. No, I don't think I enjoy dancing enough to go out and do it, and in general. I think the whole thing with me wanting to learn to like dance in public or get comfortable with it is getting more comfortable just expressing myself in general, like in creative ways around people when I have a lot of eyes on me. I feel like I typically shy away from expressing myself at all when I'm around a lot of people, especially if I don't know them or if I'm not comfortable. So I think a couple of months ago, I was wanting to just go out and dance because it's a form of expression. And I just want to get better at expressing myself when I have people looking at me and I'm around people. I think I'm like too hooked on what people think about me. So that was like a form of, what do you call it? Exposure therapy of just, let's just go dance in public, and get over the fear of what people think of me, because it's a silly fear. Yeah.
It's a silly fear that seems to weigh heavy on all of our minds.
Definitely.
So it's not too silly.
Yeah.
What was I going to ask? Dancing. Oh, I was going to say that's the nice thing about podcasting is we can be creative with only ourselves. Well, in your case, you're literally by yourself if you're doing a solo episode, or there's only one other person, so the pressure is not there as much. Definitely. Yeah. Whereas like dancing, there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Even going to the gym.
Yeah.
One of my sisters, she hates going to the gym because she doesn't like working out in front of other people. So she works out in her apartment. She does a lot of running, walking. She's very healthy, but you won't catch her dead inside a gym.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of that when you go to gyms. A lot of people who want to be looked at,
Me.
Yeah.
I can say it.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of ego.
Hey, I do too. I mean, I think everyone does. But I was like that when I first started going to the gym. I mean, I would shit myself walking into every gym because I was just so afraid of what people were going to think of me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it is like once you start gaining some experience, though, you feel more confident because you're walking into your kingdom. You know this place.
Yes.
You feel great there, so you want to go.
That's me now. I walk in, I feel comforted, knowing I love walking through the front door. I love it when I see my friend Keaton. I see his big blue ugly van in the parking lot. I told him once, I was like, dude, my day gets brighter every time I see that van, and he's like, yeah, every time I see it, my day gets darker. It's a pretty ugly van, but we've all been there. The first car when you just got your driver's license and so you're just driving like whatever the family has available, or you just go buy something really cheap because it's cheap and it gets you from A to B.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's dive into it because just the breathwork talk, I'm not sure how long it would go. But if you are okay with this structure, I was thinking, could we both sort of describe like each section and how we reacted to it?
Sure.
Because we could do section 1 with Alex, and then sort of section 2. I guess there's really only 2 parts, was the breathing part once he turned off the lights. And then our overall just takeaway from the experience as a whole.
Yeah.
Could you describe for the listener, in case they don't know, what is breathwork?
Yeah. Okay. So the whole idea of doing breathwork, I mean, there's like multiple forms of it, which is you could just do like a small breathing technique right now, like 4-7-8 breathing, or there's like box breathing, and there's like different breathing methods that are more simple, that are simply designed to calm you down in the moment or reduce stress. Or there's like breath of fire, which is like,
whoa,
yeah, which is like really intense, and it's the whole point of it is to make you almost a little anxious, like to give you energy to do something. So you have breathing techniques like that. And then what we did today, I think that was different than most breathing practices I've done. I think that was considered somatic breath work, which soma means body. So of the body. So it's like breath work of your body. Like the whole point of it is to make you feel into your body more. The whole point of that intense breathing that we did was so you can feel into your body, because we tend to disconnect from our bodies and we tend to spend a lot of time in our heads. I'm definitely like that. Always telling stories, thinking about the future, thinking about the past, thinking about whatever. I disconnect from how I'm feeling. So the whole point of that somatic breath work that we did today was to bring you back into your body so you can feel whatever's going on. And that's why JJ, our instructor today, was telling us that sometimes people will just cry or start laughing and there's no apparent reason, and and it's just because, we're feeling these things. We don't really connect to the way we're feeling as often. So it brings us into our body so that we can feel this way and express this thing. And I've heard a lot of breathwork instructors talk about how we can actually have emotions that are stored in our body throughout different experiences in our life. And since we don't learn a healthy way to express this emotion, whether it's like anger or sadness, it'll just kind of live with us. So breathing this intense breath work is a way to access it and then bring it out. That's the whole idea of somatic breath work, which is what we did today.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Thank you for that explanation. It was good. So we show up at this, we'll shout them out. It was called a Third Eye Meditation and Lounge Cafe, I think. But what was cool that we didn't realize was that there's actually a couple other businesses like all adjacent to each other, and they're all promoting healthy products. So I saw like a juice store that had multiple kinds of healthy juices. Like this one is all greens. This one's for immunity. This one's for whatever, potions. But anyways, so we get in there and we were right on time, and he rolled out some mats for us, which was really nice of them. And then he handed us some headsets, which I wasn't expecting to get headsets. And then Alex, the guest instructor, both gave us what do you call them? The things you put over your eyes?
Like face masks or...
Thank you. Yeah, face masks. So then JJ introduces the class and talks a little bit about himself and his method of teaching and his idea behind being an instructor, but also a student. And then he introduces Alex. And Alex gets up and tell the audience, Dalton, what he made us do.
Eye gazing. Dude, I loved that. I hated it. It was terribly uncomfortable in the moment. But I told you this weekend I went on a retreat.
Yep.
And I'd like to talk about that a little bit if we have time.
We will.
That's something that we did a lot, which is like, it's kind of part of it. Like there's people who facilitate the retreat, and then there's the people who attend it, right? And there's a lot of time spent during those 2 days of... They'll literally just have the facilitators like get in a circle, and then the attendees will be inside a circle, like inside the facilitators, if that makes sense. And you'll just stare at the attendees, and then because I helped facilitate this one. You stare at them and you rotate and you stare at them, and the whole point is to mirror yourself, like he was saying, is to connect with people and to see them for who they are. And in that, you kind of see yourself too. Like you're being seen by somebody, and I feel like that's something we don't really take time to do often, or we avoid that. But that's what he had us do. Was he had us eye gaze. So we walked around the room.
And at first, he had us walking facing down, and he specifically said, "Don't make eye contact," and to zigzag throughout the crowd, and to change your path, and try not to bump into each other. There's probably 20 of us there tonight.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And so then he counts down from 5, and he has us stop, and whoever you're closest with, you stare into their eyes for, was it maybe 60 to 90 seconds?
I'd say so, yeah.
And I remember what he talked about in the second and third round. Do you recall what he was sort of talking about in the first round?
The first round, I don't know.
You don't either?
No.
Do you remember the second one?
I don't think so. I think I only remember the third, because he was talking about how like... see like the child in this person.
Yes.
Like he was like, and I totally did. And that it was, I was looking into JJ's eyes, the instructor. Like he has such like a child's heart, which is good. Like I loved it, but
I almost started crying for that one.
Really?
I couldn't tell you why. Nothing. It was just whatever he was saying. It was so beautiful. It just touched me because I was imagining her and me as like a baby. And then at the part that almost made me tear up a little bit was he's like saying something about, imagine this young child can now walk and is laughing and running through the living room or the field, or I don't even it was just such a beautiful thing that he said. I was like, this just like filled me with joy of just like imagining this person. I don't even know her name. I know nothing about the lady that I was looking at. I don't think any of us did. Unless we went as friends, but I knew I was like, I'm gonna avoid Dalton for this.
Yeah,
because we know each other, so we don't, and we're staring at each other right now for 2 hours. Yeah. So, yeah, dude. The second one he was talking was the one about was sort of the one about death and destruction. Where it was like, as you look at this person, you're both concerned about the trees that are being cut down and not being replaced, and the animals that are being slaughtered, and the decay that the earth is experiencing because of the human race. But then not just the decay of the earth, but your own personal decay as you think about your anxiety and your depression. I was just like staring at this guy. The guy I was staring at, he teared up a little during that one, but rightly so. It wasn't tough to hear, but it just sort of like pulled you into reality for a minute. Like, you know, because how often do you just stop and pause about that stuff?
Not thinking about death.
But then while staring in someone's eyes and not being allowed to break the stare.
Definitely, yeah.
So did you like it?
I did. Yeah. I think, what I got most out of it is that I just need to be more like vulnerable with people. Like, I feel like coming into it, like why do you think it's nerve-wracking for us to look people in the eyes and just stare them in the eyes, like be like right up in their face?
You know what's funny is there's this hot guy. This is really relevant, I promise. Okay. There's this hot guy at the gym a couple, like 2 weeks ago. And at one point I saw him in the mirror. I looked up in the mirror and I saw him looking at me. And so I looked over I was going to make contact and just like give him the bro nod or something. And he looked away and he looked down. So then he went on a machine that was sort of behind me, and I thought, I want to try to make eye contact with this dude and see if I can create like a forced encounter, you know, of sorts. And as I was picking up my stuff and I went to walk right by his machine, I noticed that he was looking up, not at me this time, but then he was looking straight down at the ground the entire time I walked by him. And I thought it was just sort of strange. Not strange, but maybe he felt like he got caught by looking at me, or I don't want one of my shirts that shows my nipples, so maybe he didn't want me to think he was gay, like, oh shit, I looked at that guy's chest, or like, who knows, one of 1,000 scenarios that could have been going through that guy's head. But I thought it was interesting, to your point, that I tried to make eye contact with him twice and I couldn't because he was looking down.
Yeah. And I think that's like my point. I think that the people struggle to make eye contact and be really present and real with someone is because they're hiding some part of themselves. You know what I mean? Like it takes conscious effort for me to stare 1 foot away from you, look you in the eyes, and not allow you to see a part of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I think you have to be really vulnerable to show a person every aspect of who you are when they're staring you right in the face. And I think I struggle with that. Like I try to hide, suppress certain parts of myself, like, oh, people won't like that, or that'll be really mean, or, you know, like I'm constantly worried about what people are going to think about what's going on in my mind and how and who I am. And I think that practice of just sitting right in front of somebody and letting somebody see you, dropping the smile, you know, because I kind of noticed I was a little sad about nothing in general. I'm really happy right now, genuinely. Like I have a lot of great things going on in my life right now. I'm really happy. But for some reason, I'm just sitting in front of these people, like staring in their eyes. And like the smile I have on my face was kind of fake, you know? And I was like, just kind of drop it. And I kind of almost wanted to tear up a little bit. Like, man, this is like a moment where I'm actually really seeing somebody. And I feel like they're seeing me. And it made me want to cry. Like, and just kind of almost like hug them. Like, man, you know? Because I noticed I was actually kind of sad. And I think that it's a great way to practice being vulnerable and just letting people see everything that's going on within you. Yeah.
Was there anyone that you avoided eye contact with? once he said we could lift our heads and start. He said even if it's for a moment, go ahead and everyone start making eye contact with everyone. Did you avoid anyone?
The one woman I got the one you were with in the third round, I was avoiding her because I thought she was really attractive.
She's really pretty.
She was, yeah, and I was like,
thinking the
I don't
exact
want to
same
stare in
thing.
her eyes like this. I don't want to do that.
But wouldn't that have been cool
What?
if you guys had linked up? Because then afterwards you could have been like, hey, want to do more eye gazing at my place? Or I'm kidding. That wouldn't have been the line. You're not that. That's not your character. Meaning people that Dalton doesn't just sleep around and ask people to come over the first time he meets them. But I think that would have been sort of a cool first date story of like, oh, our first date wasn't actually a date; it was a breathwork class.
Yeah, that's true. We were eye gazing.
Let's go back.
To the breathwork class?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll definitely go back with you.
Except we're not gonna. That eye thing was a one-time thing, so you're gonna have to.
We can
talk to
find
her
eye
another
gazing
way.
classes.
No,
I'm kidding. We can just eye gaze.
Okay. So Alex, the guy that facilitated this portion of the course, he agreed to come on the podcast, which is awesome.
Heck
So
yeah.
one thing, tell me what you think of this, and I almost want to do it for me more than anything else. Let's say you didn't know me, and I approached you in the gym, and I tapped you on the shoulder, and I said, "Hey, you don't know me. My name's David. Sorry to interrupt your workout, but just real quick, I host a local podcast here in Austin, and I'm having a psychologist who specializes in connection coming on, and I'm doing a survey of sorts, and I'm wondering if you would make eye contact with me for 30 seconds without breaking, and then tell me what you think of the experience afterwards."
Like on the podcast? Like have him come on to do this, or you just do this
No,
right there?
I do this like in the middle of the gym.
Yeah, I mean, would I be interested? Like, would I say yes to that? Is that what you're asking? If you were just a random guy?
I guess. Well, one, would you say yes? But two, would that be like way too uncomfortable? To your point about like people and eye contact, like some people might be like, "Sure, I'll make eye contact with you for 30 seconds," but I could see other people being like, "What are you talking about? Like, why?" But part of it is because in all seriousness, I wouldn't be lying to them. I would bring that up to Alex. I'd be like, "Guess what? After your course, I asked 20 people this question. 5 straight up said no. 7 did, but they broke eye contact. But 8 all said they thought 8 all had the same answer. They felt like it was the most connected they had felt all week. That'd be cool, sort of cool
That would
data to
be.
throw at him.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
I am gonna do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'll have
Yeah.
to get like a pen and or maybe I'll even just ask them if I can record like their reaction on my voice memos or something. So I'll have to work out some kinks, but I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. And I think it's definitely going to be uncomfortable. I think that's the whole kind of point, you know? We're not good at just being vulnerable and just connecting with people, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I'll
yeah.
be curious to see how this goes.
Yeah.
I know there's one guy in mind I'm always gonna ask. I've been looking for a reason to talk to him.
There you go.
There's
Can I
one.
stare into your eyes? That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so then he has a sit back down. JJ takes back over, and can you describe for us sort of what happens next?
Yeah, he did such a great job, dude. Like I was like really, I want to go back there. Because they have these earphones, they have these headphones that are linked up for everybody. So you put them on, you're listening to the same music as everybody else. And he has a microphone. So you put the headphones on, you're listening to this peaceful music, and then he starts talking through his mic. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then they have like face masks. Everybody has a yoga mat. We're in a big circle, and we're all laying down on the yoga mat. Our heads are facing towards the middle of the room, so we're all kind of laying next to each other. He handed out a tons of blankets too, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I'm kind of drawing a blank. I mean, I don't know if you could remember anything specifically about the practice. He just kind of had us start out by breathing pretty gently initially, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably a couple minutes at least of really gentle breathing. And then there were a few rounds of us breathing more intensely. I think he first started out with like us breathing through the nose.
Yep.
And then out through the mouth. And then it kind of got more intense as we got into it. And I couldn't tell you the actual purpose of like the different intensities and like what different effects like breathing in through your mouth as opposed to your nose has. I couldn't tell you what the difference is, but I definitely felt different throughout the different phases.
So how'd you feel? Walk us through some of those, the different feelings you felt.
Yeah, I think, damn, I want your input on this too. But during some of like the more intense phases, I forget what the explanation of this is, but did your hands get tingly?
Oh yeah.
Like, whoa, like, I mean, my entire body, and I haven't felt that in a while doing breath work either.
Did you feel any temperature changes one way or the other? Extreme heat or extreme cold?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Nothing that I noted. No. But yeah, my entire body felt almost tingly, like, and if anything, I would just say that I felt at peace. I didn't feel any rush of any certain emotions this time. I think sometimes I've done it and I've felt anger. Sometimes I've done it and I've whatever. This time it was really just presence. Like that's one thing that's consistent every single time I do breath work, especially like intense breath work, is that I just feel very present during it and usually afterwards too.
Do you have, so there's no clocks in the room and everyone puts their cell phones and your keys in your wallet in these little cubbies. So you have no recollection of time. You just know what time you showed up and what time you leave. So we had phase 1 with Alex and the eye gazing. From when we laid down and he turned off the lights to when he turned the lights on and we sat up, do you have any idea, like maybe how much time that was?
Like 30 or 40 minutes, you think?
It's hard
30?
to say because it's like watching a good movie.
Yeah.
You're like, that didn't feel like 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, I know it was 2 hours, but it went by.
It was 2 hours? You were in there for 2 hours?
No. I'm saying like,
okay.
like a movie. You know, No, because I think Alex's part probably wrapped up, if I had to guess, by like 5:25, 5:30ish. But then I didn't look at my clock until we were in the restaurant. So I wish I looked when it ended. But I beelined over to Alex so quick, and then we got to chit-chatting, and then we went to the restaurant. And
do you know how long the session was?
it was marketed as 90 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
So we had like 5 or 6 sections we go through. So he tells you exactly how you're going to breathe, like mouth or nose, and how you're going to breathe. So one of them, you go in through the nose even deeper, and then blow it out your mouth. So it's a, and to Dalton's point, he would change the speed. So of which you did it. I noticed, I think in phase 2 or phase 3, an extreme drop in temperature. I was freezing, and I took my blanket that I was using as a pillow, and I ended up covering myself up with it because I was like shaking because I was so cold. I got the tinglies in my fingers, excuse me. But then after, I think it was the second to last sort of round that we did, you know how he said that your nervous system might, if you need to calm down, do the in breath of 4 and blow it out for 8, and then just return to normal breathing. So when we ended the second to last session, and he said, do your normal breathing before we start the next one. Have you ever smoked weed?
Yeah.
Have you ever had not bad, but got like high anxiety?
Yes.
I was extremely anxious.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it. But not to say I won't go back, and I'm not saying that, audience, you shouldn't try it. But when the last time I got high and it was bad, I remember it sort of went through my body. And so I felt like it wasn't pain in my stomach, but like I felt like really nervous about my stomach. And then it like traveled up to my chest. And I was like, oh my God, am I going to have a heart attack? And then it traveled up to my neck. And I was like, oh my God, am I going to choke on my own tongue? And then it went up to my head. And I was like, oh my God, is my head going to explode? It wasn't quite like that, but my whole body just felt so tense. I wanted to get up and run out of the room.
Wow.
And so I ended up just falling back on what he said, and I completely ignored whatever his instructions were for the next round. I couldn't tell you what he said because I wasn't listening. And I was just trying to get myself to calm down because in the moment I didn't want to disturb the rest of the class. I was just like, just stay here, just breathe. You're fine. You're good. It's just breath work, David. Like,
You did seem fine when we were all wrapped up. You didn't seem anxious. So would you say
it
that
went
it
away.
passed?
It passed pretty quick. I would say it maybe lasted from when it started to when it went away, maybe 2 minutes tops.
That's interesting. That's never happened to me. If anything, I'll come into a room anxious, do breath work, and then I feel very at peace afterwards. I don't know.
Well, it made me want to read up on it because I heard one of the other classmates say something about like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of carbon dioxide out of your body by the time we're done. So I do want to see like what the science behind it is, because I'm sure it was just a chemical reaction of some sort. And my body just hadn't felt that kind of CO2 dump in so long. It was like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa there, Nelly. You know, it's like, calm down.
Yeah.
So I just breathed normal through the rest of it until the very, very end. I tried to jump back on the bandwagon, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't smoke weed for that specific reason. I actually did recently with a neighbor of mine.
A new neighbor?
No, it was actually an old neighbor.
Okay.
But yeah, a really, really good dude. And he was like, "You're gonna smoke a little bit with me," and I'm like, "All right, fine."
Was it a good high?
It was. It was. We were drinking a little bit too, and that usually takes the anxiety, the edge of anxiety off for me. And I didn't smoke a whole lot. And I think if I like take one puff, like maybe a quarter of a puff, then I enjoy it. I feel this little subtle high, and it actually makes me, I think, want to engage more with people and just the world in general. And then like, if I smoke a little too much though, it's overwhelming. And for some reason I just withdraw, and every interaction is scary to me. And my heart won't stop racing.
I think that's the key for me as well, is to have it just be a little bit. I can't go nuts. It's gotta be just a little puff or two, and I get a nice little high, not soaring too high above ground. Look at this dude, and I'll put this on the YouTube version. Look at that joint.
Oh God. Is that? That's a prosthetic limb. Theo?
I would die if I smoked as much as that man just smoked. I think I'd
Oh yeah.
it'd kill me.
Your heart would beat out of your chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so lights turned back on, and tell me how you felt as soon as it sort of came to a sudden halt. How'd you feel when you sat up in the couple minutes after?
I think pretty tired. I mean, really, I think very tired, and like, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. Like, I think genuinely just like I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I think if anything, it was just my body. I felt just very aware of the fact that, oh, I could use rest, you know?
Yeah. Now,
and present too.
Were you tired at all? How'd you sleep the last couple nights?
Last night I didn't sleep very well.
So it almost brought awareness like to the fact that
Yeah. But I wouldn't say anything else that was like really stood out a lot. I think I felt more, just like I said, just more present in the room.
Yeah.
And that was really it. My mind wasn't racing anymore. I noticed that on the drive over here too. Typically over the past couple days, weeks, months, I've noticed my mind, I don't know if you can relate to this or not, but my mind just races about stuff, and I just can't stop. Like, and it's like it's bad. I need to meditate more. That's what I need to do, is spend more time meditating, because my mind, it'll race about stuff, and I'll catch it. I'm like, oh.
What's it racing about?
Anything and everything. This podcast, being on the podcast, and like just having a conversation with you. I'm going on a date tomorrow. Having a conversation with the girl that I'm going to go on a date with, because I'm really excited about it and I want it to go well.
You should bring I have a game I got. Oh, it's right here. You want to borrow some of these?
Sure. What is it?
So this is a game called Where Should We Begin? And each card has a prompt on it. And so you give like 10 to her, and you hold on to 10. And then you both choose 2 that you want the other person to answer.
I love that.
So, like, read the one that you have.
I wish I would have spoken up when.
And I have, like, the last thing I looked at that I wasn't supposed to.
Oh, gosh.
And some of them are sexual in nature, so those ones you might want to take out of the deck, or you can read them. We'll look at these after we end the podcast. But if you wanted to take like 20 of these with you tomorrow night, just to avoid those silences, those awkward silences that can somehow happen on dates.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about this date in a second, but before we do, let's wrap up the breathwork thing. So then I went and talked to Alex, the first moderator. You went and talked to JJ. How did your conversation go?
It went well.
What did you talk about?
I asked him to be on my podcast.
And
he said yes. He was super yeah, of course. He just said to give him a little bit of a notice. I'm happy you pushed me to do that because I wanted to talk to him initially, just to learn from him. I mean, like I told you, I think breathwork is awesome. And remember how you pushed me to ask that other breathwork facilitator, the girl, to come on? Yeah, I told you I'd do it. I did. I did it a couple weeks ago because
he did it last night. He's like, shoot, I'm going on the podcast.
No, but I did. I went to one of her events and I was like, fuck, I told David that I would ask her.
Did she say yes?
Yeah, she was super stoked. I've known her for a while, and I guess there's part of me that felt like I was asking too much of her to come on, which is silly. And she was totally cool. So yeah, what was I talking about? JJ, yeah. I think that he's really good at what he does. And he seems to be very, very knowledgeable, just about like breath work as a whole. And he just seems really great with people. He seems super down to earth. So I wanted to talk to him anyways. So I'm kind of happy you had been like, go ask him to be on your podcast. I was like, fuck, sure.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, no, thank you for telling me to do that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So then I went to talk to Alex, who turns out is a psychologist. And he, no surprise there, based off what he said in the class, he started his career helping professional athletes getting into the mindset that they needed to have to. He didn't say this, I'm sort of reading in between the lines, but let's say you're an NFL football player, for example. Mm-hmm. Like, take the 49ers on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm sure that loss probably hit them pretty hard. I almost think he maybe helps them deal with, like, the highs as well as the lows and how to, like, navigate being, on screen in front of millions of people and keeping your ego in check. I'm assuming. We'll find out because he said he'd be on the show. But now he wants to get more into healing. So he said in the last 3 years or so, he's been his like ideal clients are people that need healing. And I thought that was really beautiful. And I also know that he seems to know some things about loneliness. And he didn't say community. What was it? Connection.
Connection, yeah.
So I know exactly a book I want to buy and read before he comes on the show. The Surgeon General of California, I think, wrote a book about loneliness. So I want to get my hands on a few articles and a few books and just be really ready for that episode so I can have an actual conversation with him and not just me asking questions and him giving answers. Yeah. Which is fine. That format works, but
yeah,
I don't get a lot of psychologists on the show that deal in a topic that I think is really fascinating, which is healing and community. That's two really important things.
Yeah. I think that's the whole... I was talking to my friend, that retreat that I went on, it's based in Alcoholics Anonymous. And a lot of the people that go on this retreat suffer from some form of addiction. And the guy that leads it, his name's Bob Bear. He's awesome. He's a freaking cool guy.
Shout out, Bob.
Yeah, shout out, Bob. And he's an awesome guy. And one of the things he was saying was that, like, the only thing that can heal addiction is community. And that's why the only thing that helps addicts is by coming to meetings and being around people, being around other addicts, being around people who need people, Mm-hmm. And I was talking to my friend about this. I was like, well, I don't think everyone should need to go to AA,
Yeah.
Like, I don't think everyone should need that. So, like, why is that the case? That what is it about AA that seems to be helping people so much? And I think that's exactly what it is. It's a way to access community and be around people and suffer with people, not suffer with people, but yeah, share
But
your suffering.
They're doing life together, so they're
Yeah.
sharing both the good and the bad. So
Yeah.
they do very much do that. Yeah.
Yes.
So let me ask you some questions, because this is very strange to me, as you are not an addict, or are you?
I think I am. That's one thing. One thing that they talk about a lot there is that everyone is. Like, everyone has different coping mechanisms. Like, one of the programs they highlighted a lot of different programs for people to attend if they want to continue surrounding themselves with community like that. And one of them that stuck out to me was, what is it called? It's called ACA. It's Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families.
Okay.
So that is based around children who grew up in dysfunctional families. And I think that, and I'm not trying to say anything about my family. I think I grew up with a great family, mom and dad. I love y'all. Well, it's amazing. But
Yikes.
everybody, I think, has a lot of dysfunction in their family growing up, especially here. And I think that in our childhood, we are lacking something in one way or another, and that causes us to grow up with certain, what would you call it? With certain habits, ways of showing up in the world that limit us. And I think that's what that specific group that I'm referring to, adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families, is all about. It's all about coming together and healing with a group of people who maybe grew up in a household that didn't give them everything they need. And like I want to add again, I think when we're raised as children, we're just, in some form of another, one of our needs isn't met, and it causes some sort of dysfunction. Yeah. And I think that there's a lot of different ways to classify, or a lot of different types of behavior that can classify as addiction. I don't think it has to be a substance. It doesn't have to be alcohol or porn or meth. It can be something as simple as like validation. Like, and it's not, we don't take it near as serious, but I think some people get high as shit on pleasing the people around them. And maybe it's their parents. Maybe it's just a kid. You could see a kid growing up and their parents only love them if they get good grades. So they go to school and they get good grades and they're a high achiever. They spend their entire life doing shit for other people. They don't even realize it. They're getting so high on the people who are looking up to them and praising them all the time. That's how they get stoned, addict, Yeah, and I think that's something I struggle with. I think I seek validation from people, and I'm like trying to become more conscious of it.
Is that what you're addicted to? Is
Maybe.
external validation?
Maybe. I think there's a lot of things. I think maybe like sometimes I think I'll grab onto different things just to, when I'm not feeling whole just in being, I think whether it's isolating and cooking a lot of food, and I'm not saying food's bad, but I think I indulge in food in different ways. I think I indulge in video games at times. I think at times it's been, porn and other things. And I'm not saying any of these things are bad. I just think that there's a conscious way to use them, and then there's a conscious way that there's a way that you can use them and as a form of escape, and to dissociate because you're not just comfortable being, or you don't have that community and you feel lonely. You're not comfortable with something you're feeling, so you reach for something. And I think I just do it in smaller ways that aren't as they don't come off to most people as, oh, he's an addict, yeah.
Do you feel lonely?
Sometimes.
When?
Lately, I don't as much, because I feel like I'm more enmeshed. I don't want to say enmeshed. There's more communities around me that I'm involved in, that I feel like seen in, and I can show up authentically in, and so no, I don't typically feel very lonely. But sometimes when I'm sitting in my apartment, I feel like sometimes, I'd be kind of lonely.
Sure, it can be.
Yeah.
What was this retreat and how did you find out about it? When I say what, did it have like a name or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, Deep Waters.
Okay,
Deep
so it's called
Waters
Deep
retreat.
Waters. How did
Yeah.
you find out about Deep Waters?
It was so Ellie, that girl's. She hosts breath work and ice baths. Kind of like a social group where people get together and do yoga and breath work, and they jump in ice baths together. It's like a community event. She hosts a lot of stuff like that. But I met a guy there who had a men's group, and he invited me. I've been going to that men's group as well, but he invited me to the Deep Waters experience, as well as another guy I met in that men's group. It was like a synchronicity. They both invited me to it
Okay.
like the same week. And I was like, oh, I'm totally going to go to that. Sounds awesome.
Who would go? Like what? Why'd you go? How was it marketed?
It's marketed towards people to navigate their trauma and to learn ways of, first of all, trying to figure out what happened to you as a kid, because they'll kind of argue that something happened to everybody. Like we are in little ways, ways that we don't really appreciate. Something happened to you, and it's affecting the way that you're showing up in the world. So their whole approach is they have you take the Enneagram test. If you've ever taken that, it's like a personality test. Yeah. They have you take that so you kind of know how you're showing up coming in. And then they do a bunch of different practices and things like that to kind of figure out more so what's going on with you and how you are failing to show up in the world because of things that have happened to you in the past. And then they kind of try to work on giving you an idea of how you can go about overcoming this behavior and just learning to show up in a better way. Yeah.
So what was your takeaway? How many days was it?
It's 2 days.
2 days, one
It's
night.
2 days. It's 2 nights. You get there on a Friday, then it's a Saturday. Friday night, Saturday night, you leave Sunday.
Cool. Okay. So
Yeah.
48 hours. So what was your takeaway from it? What did you find out about yourself?
Yeah, like I took I've gone twice, and
I was going to say, before we talk about the takeaway, was there anything over those 2 days specifically what you wanted to talk about that was impactful to you?
I think one, just the community aspect of it. You're out in a cabin, not a cabin. It's not a cabin. It's like a little house on some land, and you are you're surrounded by these people who have very good intentions, and they tell you, like, coming in, like, just everything fucking goes. Just be human. That's all we want from you. Like, don't try to be nice. Don't try to be anything. They really hate that. They really fucking hate that. Like, not being nice, but they want authenticity. They don't want people being nice out of fear that they're going to be rejected. They really don't want people showing up inauthentically. They want you to show up as you are. So if you're angry, be angry. If you're sad, be sad. It's that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And then there's just a lot of time spent looking people in the eyes and being in, like, a lot of time spent talking about how you feel. They'll take time to let everyone speak about how they truly feel, and, like, they want you to dig. So that's cool. Like, I left just feeling like, whoa, like, just really, really connected to all the people around me. And more connected than I usually feel around most people. That was my biggest takeaway. Yeah.
How many people?
It's like, there's probably 30, 35 people.
Men and women, or was it men only?
Yeah, all ages. It's great.
Cool. Who was the youngest? Who was the oldest, do you think?
The youngest was probably like a 20, maybe even me, maybe like a 23-year-old
Okay.
or 22-year-old. And then the oldest was like probably 70, 75.
Good mix of ages.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was great. And I got a little taste of that. This was a week ago, and I got a little taste of, like, today when we did, like, the eye gazing. I kind of liked that. I was like, yeah, I mean, like, it just made me realize that I'm kind of forgetting what I feel like I learned when I went out there, of just, like, opening up and being more vulnerable with people and just trying to spend more time with people. As the week went on, I've kind of started to slip back into my old habits of, like, oh, I'll say no to that and take time to myself, when in reality I could probably, let's go spend more time with people. And yeah. It was good though.
Tonight was pretty. It was pretty badass.
I agree.
Yeah, the eye gazing was good. I'm very excited for this little social experiment I'm about to conduct. Partly just because I want to keep making eye contact with the strangers.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick before we move on, one really important thing to note about the breath work was that when we were doing the breath work, and the lady Tracy next to me, she said this, the 3 people that I made eye contact with, their images were like seared in my brain.
Really?
Like they kept popping up, not in a bad way. I thought it was good. I was sort of just like, it makes sense. We just did this really weird, awkward thing together. But I was sort of just like thinking about them, and I was like, I wonder what they're thinking about right now, and I wonder if they see my face in their head, and I wonder if they're enjoying this, and I don't know. I just was like thinking about them, couldn't get them out of my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, all 3 of them still up there, including your girlfriend.
I wish. No.
How old do you think she was?
I don't know.
I think younger than me, older than you. There's no way she's mid-30s.
Yeah.
But she ain't 22 either.
No.
No.
Mm-mm. I'd say she's probably around 30.
Would you date
I would
someone
say
older than you?
mid-30s. Yeah, but I prefer them to be like around my age. I think maybe like 3 or 4 years older at most, probably. It depends on the person.
Same.
But I feel like sometimes there's also like people learn more as they get older. People mature more, you know, most people. And I feel like I don't want to date somebody who's like emotionally way more mature than I, you know? I don't know.
You don't. So let's say we found out somehow that she's 30. Was she pretty enough that you'd ask her on a date?
Sure. Yeah. But I also kind of felt like we just stared into each other's eyes, and like, I don't know much about her, but I kind of felt like, I'll say this. I feel like she just felt very at home within herself.
She did. Give off those vibes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I don't feel like that all the time. I feel more so. I feel like this year has been great for me. I feel like I've honestly gained a lot of confidence, and I'm very happy. Yeah. In 2023.
Okay.
Throughout 2023 and 2024. I'm very happy, but I feel like there's like, I still am not always, don't always feel that way. Like I still feel like I'm building that house. If it was a house, I'm still building it, you know?
Yeah. So to bounce off of what you were just saying about how you feel really good, and we've talked about this outside of here, but to catch the audience up a little bit, Don't Think, Breathe took a little bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, it did.
Why?
I think, damn, man. I just wasn't enjoying it as much. And I also haven't really had a vision. I still don't have a vision for what I want it to be. I know you do. You have a vision for your podcast. That's something I need to work on. I don't know exactly what I want it to be. So I just kind of felt, I wasn't enjoying it as much, and it felt more like work, which I get that it kind of needs to at times. You know, it's something you definitely need to put time and effort into. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to take a break and just focus on myself.
How many episodes did you crank out about?
Like 30 or maybe 35.
So you got a good, really good base.
Yeah, I think there was like 20 or 25 guest episodes. Which I was really proud of that.
You should be.
Yeah.
You should be. And you should, I don't know if you know, I forget exactly where you are in your job search, because we were talking about how you might be making some career pivots when we were on the phone. Is it on your resume, the podcast?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. It's on my LinkedIn.
It should be on your resume,
but it's not on my resume. You're right. I think it's at the very bottom. There's like skills and there's podcasting. At the very bottom.
You should put more.
You're right.
Give it at least a whole line that
you are right, because it is a skill set.
You host, produce, and edited and invited 25 guests over to your home.
That's true.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
I heard from someone. I may have told you this before. My number one metric that I use to measure the success of the podcast is if I'm having fun. And I am. There's nothing I'd rather be doing right now than to have you over in my family room having this conversation. So I could see why you put a pause on it, because if you're not having any fun, and then this thing that's supposed to be fun feels like work, why? Yeah, of course you might take a break and reevaluate. Were you looking for what your podcast, what your vision was? As you sat and listened to those 25 people and made your 20 or so solo episodes, however many it was, would you ever just try to keep that at top of mind of like, who's my target audience? And I don't mean like an age group. I mean, mine is I have one type of person that I really want to hear the podcast, right?
Effort into.
Do you have in your head a mental image?
But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to take a break and just focus
really
on myself.
Don't think, breathe. How many episodes did you crank out about?
Like, I don't think I do.
Could it
30
be you?
Or maybe 35.
You've got a good someone
really
who's just always looking.
Yeah, I think there was like 20 or 25 guest episodes.
I feel like you're.
I was really proud of that.
You should be.
Yeah.
You should be, and you should. I don't know. What am I doing with this life that I've been given? I forget. Why am I depressed?
Exactly.
Why am I happy? Why have I been happy the last 3 months?
Because we were talking about how you might be making some career pivots when we were on the phone. Is it on your resume?
That little dude
the podcast
that needs to find your podcast might be someone else who's a couple years younger.
I don't know. It's on my LinkedIn.
It should be on your resume.
But it's not on my resume. You're right. I think it's at the very bottom. There's like skills and there's podcasting. Yeah,
at the very bottom.
That's exactly.
You're right.
Give
it at least a whole line.
You are right because it is a skill set.
You
that's
post,
exactly
produce,
the person that came
edited,
to mind
and
after I
invited
thought about it for a
25 guests over to your home.
Yeah, man, that's true. Like,
it is a lot
I think
of
specifically, I think about.
I heard from someone. I may have told you this before.
I mean, I'd say guys, but I relate.
My
more
number one
with
metric
guys,
that I
would
use
say
to
younger
measure
guys,
the
but
success
I
of
would
the
say like
podcast is
myself
if
when
I'm
I was like
having
15, 16.
And I am. There's
I'd
nothing I'd rather be doing
for
right now
him
than to have you over
hear
in
my
my
insight,
family room
you know?
having this conversation.
You can learn a lot from that.
So I
yeah,
could see why you put a pause on it because
I'm
if
happy
you're
you're
not
making
having
me
any
think
fun,
about this because that would be a great target.
and then this thing that's supposed to be fun feels
would just
like
be younger
work,
people. You know, younger people who are sort of
lost.
lost
You might take
and don't know who they are
and
don't know.
Were you looking for what your podcast, what your vision was? As you sat and listened to those 25 people and made your 20 or so solo episodes, however many. Think about it. Yeah, think and get even more specific. What's the, maybe, I don't want to say name it, like, because I was going to say, like, it's someone who's maybe dealing with identity.
Yeah.
Because that seems like something that's constantly top of mind for you is who am I?
Mm-hmm. Identity, purpose.
So then you decided to make 2 more episodes. Why?
I think, what was my other one?
I'll tell you both of them. So you did one was titled Befriending My Loyal Soldier, and that was your solo episode. And the second one was Dom Valdez, Christianity, Postmodernism, and Values.
Yeah, so I mean, the one with Dominic, we had connected on Instagram months ago, and I didn't really know him or too much about him.
So he wasn't a buddy?
Not really, no.
Interesting. I couldn't tell. Well, as you guys were talking, I just assumed he was a buddy of yours, that you're like, hey, I'm trying to get this thing up and running. Will you, like, help me out here? But you met just like I meet all my guests. Social media. Yeah. Yeah.
And we had talked about making a podcast together. I didn't know exactly where it would go. Yeah.
It went places.
It did. And I'm really happy it did because it like inspired me to like want to go learn more about like Christianity. And lately I've been trying to learn more about that. Just like Jesus's true teachings. And like a bunch of other spiritual teachers too, like what they actually said, what they wanted people to learn. Yeah, because we didn't see eye to eye on everything. He's a devout Christian, and I didn't agree with everything he had to say, and I really haven't agreed with most Christians in my life. When we like really started having conversations, we just couldn't ever come to a point of like, I just felt like I was getting nowhere. So I kind of want to learn more about like what the hell I believe there, So I'm happy he came on. And then the other one, Befriending My Little Soldier, that one was, it's about a book. There was a book that I read a little while ago. What's it called?
Do you want me to look it up? Or do you know the author's name or anything about it?
Bill Plotkin. No, it's not Bill. It's not Bill Plotkin.
What was the book about in general?
You can actually probably look up Loyal Soldier. But the whole concept is that your loyal soldier is a part of you that you develop in early childhood. That's what the author named it. It's the part of you that shows up to protect you. So say, like you're picked on as a little kid, or you're made fun of. Whenever that loyal soldier is the part of you that you develop to protect you because no one else did in that moment. So say I'll give you like a specific example. Like when I remember I was like 11 or 12, and I was like at a pool at a birthday party, and I was fat, and people called me fat and they made fun of me for it. And I truly believe that had some sort of effect on me growing up, and it kept me from wanting to engage with younger kids around me, because like having experiences like that made me develop this part of me that tells me when I'm fixing to approach, say, people my age, that they're going to make fun of you. They're going to remember how this happened when you were younger. It's this part of you that wants you to feel safe and feel love, because it felt so much pain in that experience when you were younger. So it's there to keep you from going back into those. It's there to keep me from going back into those situations that could cause me pain. And so it's my friend in that sense. Like it's this part of you that you develop to protect you from situations that you feel are going to harm you. But it also hurts you because it keeps you from, going and meeting people.
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah. So it's like, and I think the reason this concept is important, and I think it's different for everybody. Everybody has a different loyal soldier that tells them different things depending on whatever happened to you when you were younger. But it helps you understand why you're afraid when you're fixing to go do something that you want to do, but you're afraid. I think framing it that way, it keeps you from being upset with yourself because you're afraid. Oh, why am I so afraid? If I'm getting ready to approach these people, they seem cool. Why am I so afraid? Well, it's because there's just a part of you that wants to be safe, and just acknowledging that and saying, oh, thank you, but not letting it rule your world and what you do, I don't know if I explained that super well.
You did.
But
no, you did explain it well. So mine would have been very similar if I was made fun of for being gay as a kid, and sometimes I see a guy and I want to approach him to hit on him, but then my version of the loyal soldier would be like, well, if you do and he takes it poorly and rejects you, you're going to be in a bad mood for the next 3 days. So therefore, you should just continue on with whatever you're doing, because then you can have a great day. And that's sort of what you're saying, the loyal soldier. Is that part of your head that's like sort of holding you back?
Yeah. And I think it's helpful to frame it that way, because instead of fighting against it, and acting like it's your enemy that's holding you back, it's a way of realizing that no, it's actually there because it just doesn't want you to feel rejection. Rejection sucks,
Yeah, it does.
So it's there to like, it loves you, it's not there because it's evil and it wants to hold you back. It's there because it wants you to feel safe and loved. Yeah. And that doesn't mean let it control you. That just means like acknowledge that it cares about you. It's like a friend, it's like a friend that cares about you.
So what was going on with you that you decided to make that episode?
Oh man, I don't even know.
Anything particular, or just sort of something that was on top of mind for you for a couple of days, and you thought, hey, let's do a solo episode?
I think it was like this gym that I go to. There's like these group workouts that I'll go to, and I struggle to really open up and meet everybody there, because a couple of these people there are like some kick-ass people. Like they're just freaking on top of it, So I get intimidated. I go into these group workouts and I'm like, and they kind of have like, they all know each other really well. So I'm intimidated. I'm like, oh, I like to open up to these people, I think that was what was on top of mind for me. Because
have you opened up to them?
I haven't actually really been going back there. Honestly, I haven't really been going to the group workouts.
Because of your loyal soldier?
No, I just don't. I don't really care for those group workouts that much. But yeah, I have. I've met a couple people there. I've managed to open up more there. Definitely haven't gotten to know everybody there, but.
What was your perception of these people that made them kick-ass, as you put it?
They were just really athletic, and also like really kind, like really, really enthusiastic and positive. Yeah. And they just seemed very disciplined. Yeah. So like, it's like people I want to be around, you know?
Yeah.
So I think part of me is just like, oh, well, it would hurt if they were to reject me in some way or be like mean. It would definitely hurt.
If they're how you perceive them, though, I doubt they would. If they're really kind and athletic, and
they wouldn't, exactly.
Right.
They wouldn't. But part of me believes that, and it keeps me from opening up to them in the moment, you know?
Yeah,
Part of me believes that, oh, what if they do that? But and it's hard to overcome that in the moment, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that helps looking at it that way.
So you have JJ and you have the fitness lady. What's her name?
Ellie Rome.
You have Ellie coming
She's
on.
badass.
You have JJ coming on. What's with where you sit right now today? I mean, clearly it's on top of mind because you're actively inviting people onto the show. So it is going to keep going. The show will go on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you going to start dropping episodes weekly at some point, or
I don't know.
just do these 2 one-offs and then maybe keep thinking about it?
Yeah. I don't know if I could really commit to anything right now. I just I don't know if I ever see it being, at least right now, I kind of like it just being something sort of casual, you know, that I just do for a while. I don't know if right now I could dedicate to doing it every week.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun though.
Yeah.
Well, for me it is. But I get if you don't have a vision or a clear vision, did the potentially hard question. Did the numbers have anything to do with it?
Like not having
whatever your number of downloads was, would you check on Buzzsprout and look at the numbers and then feel sort of deflated? Or did you do? I almost never check my stats. Did you go in there much?
I would go in there every once in a while, probably like once a month, maybe.
Okay, so you were digging around.
I mean, just to see though.
So it didn't affect you one way or the other when you did that monthly login.
No, I'm trying to be honest with myself though. If I saw it explode, would I continue to do it weekly? Probably. Yeah. If it was growing a lot, like rapidly, then yeah, I think I'd feel like, okay, we need to continue here. But, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
It did. Part of the reason I hope you continue to give it some thought is because I feel like you're past the hump of being a new podcaster. You have 30 plus episodes. So whenever someone looks at DSNSB now, and I'm sure they would react the same to yours, and they start scrolling, they're like, oh, you've been doing this a while. And one thing that Nick, he gets referenced a lot these days. We met about 3 or 4 months ago. And he's my Jamie, is what I call him. But both Nick and my ex-podcast coach, we recently ended because I feel like I outgrew what he could offer. We left on good terms. He might even come to Austin and be on the show. But both of them made a comment of like, you have enough episodes, you can start going, reaching out to like B-list celebrities. Whether it's, I think most people hear celebrity and they think actor, actress. But I also think like musicians, chefs, like people who continue to have really interesting stories. And maybe they don't do a lot of media appearance because maybe even they're like, well, I'm a B-list, I'm a C-list. Like no one wants to hear from me, but they have a big enough following that to get them on, it might get me 10 new normal viewers, 20 more normal viewers, whoever, however many it is. But I feel like you're in the same place that if you do decide, I want to give this another go, drop episodes weekly, I know what my vision is. Let me ask you this. What's your pitch? So like when you walked up to JJ, you say, I have a podcast. It's called Don't Think, Breathe. Our mission is go.
Fuck. I don't know, man. Just to wing that, I think just to share knowledge in the health and wellness space and to help people better navigate their mind and overcome addiction, loneliness, learn how to show up better in the world, be more confident and more authentic. Yeah.
Do you use ChatGPT much, if at all?
Mm.
I have something I might send you. There's a video about, it's for new podcasters, which you're past, but there's a portion where they use ChatGPT. You know how you sort of just stumbled through like a few different things? You were like, we want to help people with addiction and loneliness, and we are in the health and wellness space. You can go in there and drop those key terms and then say, like, give me a 4-sentence paragraph on what my podcast is about based off this information, and optimize these sentences for search engine optimization so people will, you know, be Googling stuff and then find you. So I'm going to send you that video, but I think you should figure out what your elevator pitch is.
Definitely. Yeah. What is your elevator pitch?
That we are an Austin-based podcast that tells stories around business, fitness, and culture with an aim to have that internal fire within the audience burning brighter than it was when they started the episode.
I love that. It's beautiful.
I've said it a few times.
Yeah, man. It's like poetry.
Yeah. I want to get that fire lit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Internal bonfires all over the place.
Yeah, it's definitely not like narrowed down at all. You know, it's kind of everything. I haven't. Yeah. And honestly, what feels right is I just don't. I think I need more time. I just.
Oh, shit. Sorry. I am not ready for the next question. Because there's something I wanted to read you. Give me 1 second, people. I apologize. All right, here we. Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's not it. We're getting close. We're getting close. Come on. Jeez, I've been in this thing way too much. All right, if I don't find this. Dang. Okay, so I was going to show you something. I went into ChatGPT and said something to the effect of, I want to grow my YouTube channel to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's a podcast channel that I've been working on for 1 year. It currently has 250 videos, 250 subscribers. I'm the only one managing it. Our top 3 topics are stories around business, fitness, and culture. Give me a strategy to get to 5,000 subscribers by year end. What do you think it said?
I have no idea. That is so what? Oh my!
So we're not going to read this whole thing to you guys, but this blew my mind. It opened up by saying, growing your YouTube podcast channel to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year is an ambitious yet achievable goal with a strategic approach. It then goes into focusing on your strengths and details how to do that. Consistency is key. Details how to do that. Collaborate and guest features. Details how to do that. It gave me 3 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper for all the ways that I could get to 5,000 subscribers by year end.
This is wild.
So I don't know if maybe even just you can have that. I wanted to print one for you so we could read through this at the same time together. Is there anything on here that's a surprise to you?
Like any one of these bullet points?
Yeah.
Like that, like I wouldn't have thought of?
Right. Talks one
themed series? Like subscribe.
Yeah, I mean, I did that. I did five Christmas episodes, and they actually, dude, they did great. And I wasn't sure, but the thing is, we didn't really we only talked about Christmas in one of them. Did you see any of those shorts?
I did. They looked great.
So all we did was we put a fucking $15 Amazon backdrop on the wall. And the reason I took away the table was because I got feedback from both guests and audience members that they liked that we were sitting more next to each other and that the table was gone. And I was sort of shocked that multiple people would be like, never bring the table back. Like, all right, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was such a big deal. We have to have a table to a certain extent to hold all the gear, but now you and me have nothing in between us, which I do like.
I like that too. I do. I mean, I wouldn't say anything like. 1 second.
One that I don't do that I'll read to you guys while Dalton is scanning this is suggest making playlists. So organize your video into playlists, grouping related content together, which is interesting because we have had like some dating themed episodes, some fitness heavy episodes, some creative heavy episodes, meaning like musicians, movie producers, documentarians. So I definitely could do that. I could reorganize the YouTube page to sort episodes by theme versus date that they came out. I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on it just because I have another couple projects behind the scenes right now I'm working on. But yeah, I thought just the fact that it spit out all of this was wild to me.
I mean, that's probably better than anything you'd find online if you were to look on like how to grow your podcast, you know? I mean, this is probably better than any article you could read.
Right.
You know, I mean, I wouldn't say anything here sticks out to me. It all just seems like very necessary. And I don't know. I think that each one of these can be kind of small, but when you compile them all together, you know, I think it could really help you.
I think for a brand new podcaster who hasn't made any headway at all, like they don't know the theme of the show. Actually, maybe they're getting ready to launch. They have like the logo made. Maybe they even have a couple episodes down. Maybe they've even launched, but they're very early on. This would be huge.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
And it did reaffirm, like, I like that consistency is key is one of them. I still, to this date, have not missed a Saturday, which I'm very proud of.
How many Saturdays have you gone now?
The 53rd episode went live this last Saturday.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of
amazing.
it, too.
Yeah.
And I can say that, hopefully humbly, but, like, to your point, it is a ton of work.
Yeah.
It soaks up hours. I spent 4 hours working on it yesterday morning. I'm not even really sure what I did. I know what I did. I wasn't wasting time. I know exactly what I was doing. I was reaching out to guests. I was doing things to get us off to script. I know what I was doing. But yeah, it takes a lot of work. And you have a lot of curveballs thrown your way as it grows. Just things for you to think about.
Is it ever an obsession? Or
yeah.
Is it
especially on weeks like this week when I have like 1, 2, 3. I'm recording 4 episodes in 7 days, and why? We only drop once a week. I'm addicted.
You're doing that this week?
Yeah.
I swear, I talked to you a couple weeks ago, and you were doing like 3 or 4 that week.
I'm doing You Tonight.
Do you know how many have you recorded? You have 53 out.
Right. It's between 60 and 75.
Brilliant. Dude, that is insane. That is wild. That's awesome. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
You could quit and it would go on for.
But I can't. I can't quit because all these people, I'm so excited to talk to them.
Well, of course. I'm just saying you have just such a backlog.
I'm doing 5 this week.
Amazing.
That's right. I forgot one. But like this is what I'm obsessed about. Like we had You Tonight, another podcaster / friend / I feel like we're both trying to get ourselves out there and do new things and be outside of our comfort zones. Tomorrow night, teen therapist. Wednesday night, trauma documentarian.
Amazing.
Thursday night, a pilot. Sunday, a buddy. It's going to be a great week.
Be a good Sunday.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Are you talking about this Sunday?
Or
next
no,
Sunday?
that's Monday night. Sunday is a concert. If you'd like to go see Hard Sell, are you into punk rock music?
I am into punk rock. I don't know who Hard Sell is.
Sunday night?
Potentially, yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, next week, the 25th.
Sweet.
I do need to slow down. I looked at my calendar this week and was just like, wow, that was not good. These people should have been spaced out a little bit more. But I'm addicted.
Is it are you noticing negative effects of you pumping out so many?
Feeling unprepared. Like, I wish my buddy was somewhere in the middle of the week because that would have given me a buffer. But, like, for tomorrow night, I feel I'm 90% ready for this week, but it's going to be a heck of a week. The ideal week would have 2. If I was recording every 4 to 5 days, that'd be perfect. 5 is a lot.
You record just as much as Joe Rogan. I'm serious. He pumps out like an episode every 2 or 3 days.
Yes, he does.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I wish I could do that. But I have it planned for sponsors in 2024, so we'll see. I might try to work out something with my work where I like never have to work Fridays, and in turn, they might cut my pay by like 20%, and that's fine. But if I could get sponsors to make up for that, and I could have a 3-day weekend, a whole day just dedicated to prepping for guests, oh my God. That'd be great. And then I could actually take a day off to have 1 day a week where I'm not doing anything, podcast or work related.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
And I think you should also think about when you start at the podcast, what goals you want to reach. Some small ones that you'd want to hit this year into 2024. And I'm not talking about subscribers. I'm talking about like get my first sponsor, get my first camera, get a particular type of guest. You know, I really want to get on like the top breathwork coach in Austin or something like that. Someone you know you could actually get though. And then have big ones. I have some ideas in mind that might not come to fruition for 5, 6, 7 years, but I think about them almost daily. And I think that keeps me going because I'm like, every episode is getting us closer to that dream becoming a reality.
Yeah. I appreciate the encouragement. I appreciate it.
I just think it's so much fun, and you actually did it. You know, this would be a different conversation if someone was thinking about starting a podcast. I wouldn't be trying to strong arm them into doing it. I'd give them whatever advice they wanted, and then say take it or leave it. Right. But the thing is, you have a solid platform built with some really good information.
Yeah.
And we like hearing from you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, talk to me about this date you're going on tomorrow night. How'd y'all meet?
Oh man, so you know what VUCA is?
Hookah
VUCA?
On a vape?
VUCA? No.
No, I don't know what
I would
VUCA
love to
is.
hit a hookah. I need to go to a hookah bar or something.
Let's go.
Right? Okay. VUCA is an event center. I've actually been trying to work there. I've been kind of volunteering a little bit, but they had a singles connection event the other night. The age range was actually 28 to 48, but the girl who hosts it asked me if I could come because they had a shortage of guys. So I met a girl there that was really, really cool. I think she's a yoga coach. I think she's a yoga instructor.
You would go on a date with a yoga instructor.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Excuse me.
But she's really pretty and she's really sweet. And yeah, I don't know much more about her. We didn't get a chance to talk a whole lot. But I am excited. More excited than I usually get for dates.
What are you gonna do?
We're gonna go on a picnic.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I agree.
That's so much better than a restaurant or
I
a
agree.
coffee.
Yeah.
Good. Where?
I think Zilker.
Okay.
Unless you have any other recommendations.
No, I was just curious, and this will come out way after the date happens. So
Yeah.
I figured if we give any personal information, it's whatever.
Yeah. But
Who's bringing food?
She's gonna bring cookies.
Okay.
And I'm gonna make croissants with like cheese in them. Oh, and then just bring some like fruit or something. They're probably gonna be terrible. I've never made these before. I just looked up a recipe online, so I'm gonna be doing that tomorrow.
All right, hang on. Do you watch any cooking shows?
No.
I love them.
Okay.
I have a select few that I like, and one thing that always just makes the judges go bonkers is when one of the contestants does something they've never done before in a competition. They're like, "What are you doing? It's a competition. Stick to your strengths." Yeah. And I feel like this sort of applies to first dates.
You're right. I don't care.
Testing the water with them.
I don't care. I'm not a croissant.
Bad, it'd be funny.
I'm not the croissant. I don't give a shit.
You're not the croissant. Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't matter. And like, I want it because it's like, I think it'll be fun. I think I can do it.
And the fact that you're going out of your way to make something from scratch, and
even if it's shit, it's okay.
You tried.
Yeah.
And you'll bring him with you even if it's shitty? Yes. Say yes.
Yeah.
Unless they're burnt, because that's different. If they're black and like not edible, that's true. Different. Don't bring those. But if it's more of just like these weren't as moist as I would have liked, or I should have added more cheese or whatever, bring them.
Yeah. That might turn out bad, but it's okay.
Do you do much baking? Because that's
never.
more baking than cooking.
Yeah, never.
Are you making the croissants from scratch or getting like pre-made dough?
I think I'm going to get pre-made dough.
Okay.
I don't think I could do scratch. Yeah.
You know what you could do? Well, she's already bringing cookies. Keep this in your back pocket for a different event. Get crescent rolls and just fill them with chocolate chips. Oh, and then bake them, obviously. It's the best dessert ever.
Okay. What is a crescent roll?
It's you know that the in the store where the blue bars of dough are.
Yeah. Okay, I do know what you mean.
Yeah,
okay.
and there's cinnamon rolls and
you
orange
can make biscuits,
rolls
right?
Biscuits,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The crescent rolls are when they're unrolled, it's a triangle. So you put it in the middle of the triangle and then you wheel it up, and I guess it looks like a crescent moon.
Yeah.
It's just a dough. It's a relatively
That's what a croissant is, right?
Yeah, but I feel like croissants are more flaky.
Okay.
Whereas the crescent rolls are more like biscuity. But they're not a biscuit. They're a crescent.
Ah.
It's like a light bread. It's a light bread.
Yeah.
And it's about this long and maybe that thick at the most. And yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I am.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it.
Dalton's going on a date.
Yes. Yes. That event was really, really cool in general.
Tonight? Or the retreat?
Yeah. Oh, the singles connection event.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it was really cool. They the girl who hosts it, yeah, she's just a badass. She had it wasn't like a speed dating event like you would typically think of, like a singles connection event. It was more like she had everyone pair up in threes and kind of split up and talk about, like, I felt like the topics were more honed to like digging in to people more. They weren't very surface level. She forced more like deeper conversations upon everybody.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was enjoyable.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I need to, that's dating. I was going to say I need to do some of that myself, but maybe in March.
Have you been on any dates recently?
No. So Buddy lost a bet to me, and the bet, I forget what I had to do if I lost, but if he lost, he said he would be my wingman and we could go to the bars and the clubs, and he's straight with the girlfriend, and he was like, give me whatever line you want me to use and I'll go hit on another dude. And so the catch was I was going to give him something really corny. Like we were talking about going to a billiard hall, and not that. Go to the club.
He was going to give you lines?
No, I was going to give him a line if he lost the bet.
Okay.
That he had to use. And I think the line I gave him was like, you have to go up to another guy and say, hey, do you like billiards? because I sure would love to slam into your 8-ball. Like,
okay, wait, what is a billiard?
You don't know what billiards is?
No idea.
Like pool? Billiards.
No, I don't. That's the stick?
Yeah.
That's a billiard?
The game is called billiards.
Oh, okay, no, I don't know.
So you know when you put all the balls on the table and you hit them with a stick?
Pool?
Yes.
That's pool. I've never called
billiards.
it. Never heard of that.
Oh my! This is
that.
gonna make such a great clip.
Okay, so it's pool. It's just essentially that's what it is.
No idea what I was talking about.
No, I've never heard it called billiards. I've always just called it pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pool.
Yeah. Okay, so the joke was.
So the joke was something like to go up to someone and be like, "Hey, do you like pool? Because I sure would love to slam your 8-ball." Or I don't even remember what the line is. It was something about insinuating that the stick was a penis and the 8-ball was a testicle.
Okay.
But I'm completely forgetting what the line. I had it a couple of weeks ago. Anyways, I bring all this up to answer your question about if I was going to go on a date. So then the night comes that we were going to head out to the gay clubs, but there's a live band playing a free show that Tom wanted to see. And he asked if Cousin Bobby and the rest of the Hog Squad could join, which is our nickname for his roommates and myself. And I said, sure. So
Sounds
we
like
go
a
out. Bobby's in a band, ironically, but that's not what they're called. So we went out to see the show. And after the band played that we wanted to see, they were like, do you want to go to the club now? And in my head, I was having so much fun just hanging out with my friends and enjoying the moment and enjoying the music, that I knew if we went to whatever the fuck the bar is called, I would be off trying to flirt. The three of them would be just hanging out, and essentially like I'd be separating myself from them for the night in a sense. And I didn't want to do that. If I didn't want to, and maybe that's my loyal soldier. That was, but I was just like, if we will all be together unless I actually start talking to someone, because then they'll probably branch off on do their thing so we can do our thing. And I didn't want the night to end with them. So I said, let's just stay here and enjoy our time together.
Yeah.
So that would have been the only opportunity that I would have got to maybe meet someone. But no, I have not been on any of the apps. I was on Tinder for a little bit, and I matched with a few people, but then I couldn't get them to meet. There's one guy who we exchanged phone numbers, and he flaked on me, I think 3 times. So I blocked him. Fuck that.
Fuck that guy.
I don't do that.
Not
that
at all.
Game.
Yeah.
And he always had some lame excuse. He's like, sorry, I had a migraine. It was so bad I didn't even want to look at my screen. Okay, dude.
Yeah. No, yeah. I haven't been using the apps lately at all.
You don't need to. You got your yoga instructor.
Yeah, you're right.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Well, Dalton, or what were you going to say?
Oh, no. I was just going to say, like, I'm in the same boat. I feel like I've gotten so annoyed with the apps. I don't know. They've worked. They work for people. They work from time to time, but I'm just taking a break. But yeah.
You ever been on Hinge?
Oh, yeah. That's the one I use mainly.
I just listened to the CEO, the original creator. I think Hinge may have sold at some point, but he just did an interview on another podcast. And I've never been on Hinge, and it made me wonder, like, are there gay dudes on there, and should I give it a shot? Just after hearing him talk about it, like, very passionately, I'm like, this guy really likes his app. He's all about it.
You could try it. I don't know.
The only thing it would hurt is apps are such a time suck.
They are.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's almost like social media. It's like it becomes something I do when I'm bored. It's like, oh, yeah, it's enticing, you know, to go. And it's like, I also feel like it replaces my desire to just go meet women when I'm out.
Me too.
Because I'm just looking at them on my phone. Oh, I can, I don't know.
I feel like it's the same as doing a live breathwork class versus one on Zoom. There's something to be said for leaving your home, being with a group of people, and putting in work. It takes no work to download Hinge, Tinder, Grindr, whatever. And it takes no work. It takes minimal work to
build a profile. And I think that's why a big reason why I want to meet someone organically is because I want to meet someone who's sort of driven like myself and who's not just taking the easy way out, but they're making the effort to be at breathwork classes, go to the gym, whatever the thing is, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying all the people on apps are lazy either. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's something to be said for showing up.
You're more likely to meet that kind of person if you like out and about than you are to on an app.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Anything else that you wanted to talk about tonight?
The only thing that just came to my mind was that actually a friend of mine just started hosting. I think we kind of talked about this same topic a little bit in the first one we made, first podcast. He hosts a meetup group that's designed for approaching people you're attracted to. If you want to come sometime, it's intimidating.
Is this that guy on Instagram?
Yes, the approach coach. Yeah. Oh, I'm happy I brought it up because we were going to talk about it.
We did not. Yes, we sort of talked about this, but not through this lens. So, what is this group?
It's what's it called? Art of the Approach. That's their podcast. He has a podcast too. Okay. It's called The Art of the Approach, and it's all about just from what I can tell, gaining confidence to mostly approach people that you're attracted to sexually.
Right.
Yeah.
And then find out if you're also attracted.
I'm sorry. What is that from? Sexually. What is that from? Sexually. That's from like a TV show or a movie or something. I don't know. Okay, whatever. But yeah, so they have a Saturday meetup group as well as another one they do once a month. Like I couldn't go recently on Sunday, but they meet up at Whole Foods and a bunch of just random different kind of people come. And then the idea is you meet everybody. And then for 45 minutes to an hour, you split off, you go buy groceries and you set goals for yourself of how many people you're going to meet and you compete with each other. I think I'm butchering this. I don't really know exactly what they do. But he explained it to me. And you just go and you approach people. I think there's a scoring system. Like if you have a conversation with somebody, that's 2 points. If you get a phone number, that's 3 points. 1 point if you just say something to somebody and you score yourself and you come back and you reflect on it with people. And the whole point is just to get out of your comfort zone and to, I guess, flex that muscle of expressing attraction to people that you're interested in. I went with them once on a Saturday, and like what they did was they got together, they split off into groups, and you just walk around not Zilker, but the trail around
like
Lady Bird Lake. Yeah. And then you just encourage each other to approach people you're attracted to. And it's intimidating. It's fun though. I had such a good time. I was like, oh my God, I was so nervous. This is great.
And do they film? They film some of them because there's a couple on his Instagram. But
they film each other. The two guys that run it, they're trying to grow their social media, but they don't film. Guys. They don't film the other people who attend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I noticed on the Instagram page there's like a younger guy, and at first I thought it was him, and then there was like no offense, but like an older dude, like who looks like he's maybe in his 40s or something. And I was like, wait, which one is it? So they do it together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Approach Coaches.
Yeah. It was cool.
It's a clever name.
Fun. Yeah.
Page was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun concept too. It definitely, I think it helps you develop, confidence.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yourself. Yeah.
Anything you practice, you're going to get better at.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Like approaching potential guests.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I could definitely improve at that for sure. That just comes with time.
Yeah. No. And practice. I don't know if I would join the AC group for a one-time deal. Yeah. I would try that. Is it all dudes or can it be anyone? Like,
I think it's mostly guys.
It's mostly guys.
But girls, I'm sure girls come. There was one girl that came when the last time I went.
You know what I would like to see? I'd really like to see a lady come. I would love to see how the guys react to her.
Yeah.
Because isn't that pretty infrequent? How often do you get hit on by a woman, Dalton?
It's happened to me, I think, once.
That's what I'm saying. And you're mid-20s, so in your entire existence on this planet, it's happened one time. I think that'd be really cool to see the dudes' reactions.
Yeah.
Because I think there'd be a lot of surprise there.
because like one of the videos, the guy just walked up to her and he said something just like, "Hey, I thought you saw you back there and you're super pretty." So it'd be so really funny to see a lady walk up to a guy and be like, "Hey, I saw you back there and I think you're super handsome," and to see how he reacts. I bet he'd be smiling ear to ear.
Oh my gosh, I would be.
Guys love
Like,
getting
oh my
complimented.
gosh.
Guys smile ear to ear when I compliment them. My straight friend, you know, and so if someone who like could be a potential sexual partner also, like, yeah, they might not even know what to say.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Just be speechless.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that's the typical response that that girls have to it too. Is they're like just flattered, and some actually that's not true. Some are really annoyed and just.
Well, the annoyed ones, especially on that Lady Bird Lake path, are probably there's a name for them. I forgot what my sister called them, but it's something like hot girl walks or something. And it's when you see a woman who gets like really dressed up in like her pink Nike shoes, pink Nike shorts, pink Nike bikini, pink Nike head bow, and then gets all of her makeup done and puts on like expensive sunglasses and is doing like a very aggressive walk down a sidewalk.
I haven't heard of that.
There's some name for them. Maybe it's a California thing.
Is it just?
But basically, I'm saying I bring up this type of individual as that's probably not the one to hit on.
Yeah, I mean they're seeking attention, right? Like,
right, but then what's crazy is I feel like when they get it, they always react to it negatively. Like you're annoying them, or like whatever you just did was inappropriate. So it's like, hit on me, hit on me, hit on me. But then when you do, I'm gonna snap at you.
Yeah, we don't like them.
Am I just describing Karen? Am I just describing Karen pre-marriage?
Yeah. I have a friend
who's
Karen. His mom's name is Karen. You got a lot of shit for that growing up.
Especially during 2020. I'm sure a lot of women who were named Karen probably were just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Can't catch a break here.
Yeah, man.
Same with like Kyle. That sort of stuff. I feel like Kyle sort of has
David.
Not negative. No, there's no Dalton. Like there's nothing going on about Daltons or Davids, but like Kyle is just like, you must be a douchebag who drinks monsters and like sleeps around and skates and whatever the trope is.
Yeah.
Do you know who Trevor Wallace is? Trevor
Wallace. Is he a country singer?
Never mind. He's a podcaster, but I guess there's actually like some Kyle convention here in Kyle, Texas, and even though his name's Trevor, he was
Kyle
like there.
Convention?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
We're not gonna Google this on right now. Because it might take some finding. Here, if I can find it in 10 seconds.
Kyle Convention. Is it guys named Kyle? Like, or is it like that type of like personality?
So here, let me just see if there's a... All right, what's this picture? See? They just brought together a bunch of dudes who sort of fit the trope in the city of Kyle, Texas.
Wait, in the city of Kyle?
Yeah.
They brought a bunch of Kyles together?
Yeah.
Did they actually name Kyle, or they just fit the personality type?
They fit the personality type.
Gotcha.
Look how many people showed up. Look at this.
Oh, that's so silly. That's cool, though. It's cool.
I guess they just drank a bunch of monsters and...
Yeah.
They all wore white T-shirts, and I don't know, they hung out. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to the point of this episode. I have a new tradition in 2024 that I've been doing.
Okay.
I've been taking questions that I really like from other podcasts and answering them to wrap up the episodes. Thank you for coming over tonight, by the way. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it a lot, too.
You're welcome. To the audience, if you enjoyed this episode, please... share it with someone, ring that bell, drop some stars. The more people that you can help us reach, the bigger this podcast will get, and the harder I will work to continue to bring you wonderful guests like Dalton.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
So the question is, what would you do all day if you didn't have to work? And this is the only question where they gave the guests some context, so I'm going to give you the same context. This question came from someone who does believe that AI will get to a point that it's running everything, and when we're without a job, some concept like universal basic income will come into play. And so when there is no work to do, what would you do?
Do a lot of yoga. I go to the gym a lot. I'd cook a lot of food. Go on walks.
You answered that so quick.
Yeah. Shit. There's probably a lot of really unproductive things I'd do too, but those are obvious.
What's one of the unproductive ones?
Just watch TV, watch a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy all these AI-made films with AI-made people.
That's disgusting. I don't want that to happen.
But here's the thing that's crazy about like that ChatGPT thing. That basically covered like my first 2 calls with my coach. So like it is literally putting him out of a job. And if it can do that, it could cover the same stuff we probably covered in sessions 3, 4, and 5, and 6 as well.
That's true.
If people know how to use it. Because then you have people like me who, one of my guests named Shannon, whose episode should be out by the time you're hearing this, she was telling me about her take on AI and what she uses ChatGPT for, which made me then go onto YouTube, and all I did was I put in podcasts and ChatGPT, and I watched like 3 videos and was blown away that I haven't been using it since day 1.
I'm sorry. What? I blanked out. I totally blanked the fuck out.
I saw you blank out. Essentially, you have people like me who are ignorant to ChatGPT, and it took me till 2024 to use it just because I didn't realize how powerful of a tool it was. And now I'm on it almost daily because it is so smart and sophisticated. This is just a long way of me saying that it's going to be very interesting to see what jobs it literally does start to take over, because it can just do them for us in a matter of seconds, and we don't need to pay a human to take hours to do it anymore.
Yeah, no, that is very scary. I mean,
Scary or exciting?
Scary. I don't know. I mean, I guess you're right, but I think there's something. I'm thinking more about like art too. You know, like what couldn't it create great music too? Is there an algorithm to like what we enjoy? You know, when we listen to music, or like what's funny? Are they going to be able to calculate like how to create just the most fucking wonderful joke and put all the comedians out of business? You know.
But you'd still need someone to deliver those jokes.
They can create that. I mean,
but if I want to go to a comedy club,
you're right. Yeah, that's true.
So I won't be able to do everything.
Holograms, man. No, I'm kidding. Maybe
yikes.
One day. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, I don't want that to happen, but it seems like it is, though.
It is. All right, Mr. Daniel, this has been a great episode. Let's get out of here. Get to bed. Good seeing you,
rest.
friend.
Yes, sir.
All right, everyone. Stay healthy. Stay happy. And we will see you next Saturday on another episode of David's Saturday Night Sit Back. Bye, guys.